The American media allowed this to happen. Never forget that, folks. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's like on the basis that there's something called journalistic integrity. Yeah, what's that? Speaking of journalistic integrity, former Antifa member speaks out. Antifa still isn't a group, but okay. Seems so legit. That's totally just some production intern at Fox. Well, yeah, they just got like one of their gays at Fox and then made them put on a mask and call them Antifa. I mean, obviously before firing them for being woke. If this country was truly pro-life, we would have Medicaid for all, a Green New Deal, gun reform, universal childcare, and a living wage. What? You want people to be able to work and live off of it? Who do you think you are? The corporations need their profit margins, and think of the shareholders. The right-wing agenda isn't about life. It's about control. Well, yeah, they're pro-life as in if someone's pregnant, they can't have an abortion. But I mean, the second the baby's born, it can die. Because I mean, all it is a workforce for the corporations, right? It really is amazing how often you can repeat something Trump said verbatim without identifying Trump as the person who said it. And Trump supporters will say it's the dumbest thing they have ever heard. That's the cult after all. It's not about what they're saying or what they're standing for, it's just the face of it. These people would cheer for literally anything as long as it was dear leader Trump doing it. They'd even drink the Kool-Aid. Or the equivalent these days is not get the vaccines for their kids, so they get measles. Who's gonna tell them? So, we're about to enter a government shutdown. We're not gonna go through a government shutdown. This happens every couple of years or so. Well, I mean, the last time it happened was when Trump was in office. Coincidence? And they always figure it out 5 seconds before the shutdown actually happens. It's just song and dance. No, it's trying to not get the Epstein files released. That's what. Did that guy forget we've already been through a Trump presidency government shutdown? Well, yeah, of course he has, because in order to stay in the cult, you must put your fingers in your ears and go la la la, I can't hear you. You know all that bad shit Trump's done, ever? You know, all the businesses he's bankrupted, all the bullshit he's said, all the stupid shit he's done? Yeah, that never happened in their eyes. All that has ever been is dear leader Trump. And he's always been a saint sent by gods to charge them $50 for a hand. Longest in history too, and that's when he cared about getting re-elected. I really don't want to tell you this, but I'm pretty sure the guy still thinks he's getting re-elected. I mean, the difference is though, now he's got more of a cult following, so they'll vote for him no matter what. But this time, I'm sure he won't worry about actual votes. Oh, so he can just unilaterally pass unconstitutional laws now? Huh, okay. 2 eyes, Border Patrol, law enforcement, and all US military. As per my August 25th, 2025 executive order, please be advised that from this point forward, anybody burning the American flag will be subject to 1 year in prison. You will be immediately arrested. Thank you for your attention to this matter. You have to be breaking the law to go to prison. And you can't pass a law without Congress. Your executive order literally does nothing. At this rate, if any law enforcement agencies actually listen to this executive order, oh, that's really not good. I'm not necessarily the best at civics, but I don't think you can just pass a law yourself without Congress via executive order. That's not how it works, bud. So, 5 white dudes have more wealth than half the entire planet. So, tell me why a brown immigrant is the reason you're struggling. Explain it to me like I'm 5. Well, long story short, no, they don't. Immigrants aren't the reason people are struggling. Like you said, it's because of the rich dudes. Cause I mean, after all, this is more than just politics. This is rich versus everyone else. Who are the ones trying to instill this fascism? The rich people. Those are the ones trying to strip everyone's rights away and make a profit off of it. Hegseth said today that he wants to ban any symbols of superficial individual expression by people serving in the military. Of course, he was probably talking about dangerous things like rainbows. Well, yeah, you can inscribe as much right-wing rhetoric as you want on yourself, but a rainbow? No. See, we can't have that now because that's a woke, that's gay. And somehow being some pseudo-masculine, very obviously fragile-egoed person makes America great again as opposed to expressing yourself. Really owns the libs, guys. This current American presidential administration is run by people who are quite obviously mentally ill. And we need to start talking about that. Well, not necessarily mentally ill, but will just yes sir anything that's said of them, and will permit fascism like lemmings and say absolutely nothing, because they're just trying to make their nut. Hey chat, if you guys enjoy this gay guy reading stuff, you should totally like, subscribe and share, cause it helps a lot. Anyways, thanks for watching, and back to the video. Tallarico. If you read the New Testament, Jesus doesn't spend most of his time preaching or teaching or even praying. He spends most of his time healing the sick. And right now, we have politicians in Congress with Christ follower in their Twitter bio, but they are kicking the sick off of healthcare. See, what I really just find kind of baffling is that so many Republican politicians, say that they're a Christian and read the Bible. Do they actually learn from its teachings? I wouldn't say so. Definitely not from their actions. I don't really think taking people off their healthcare, then trying to instill a fascist government that doesn't look out for the everyday person, is really Christian of you, or in any way moral. But I've heard of Tallarico a lot recently, and honestly, I really like him, and I hope he gets into the Senate. What is the MAGA fake outrage machine doing today for clerks? I wonder. Bunch of bullshit, or bunch of bullshit? Look, it's from Libs of TikTok. I think we can tell what it might be. God, we love Libs of TikTok. Giving Looney Luma a run for her game. Breaking news. Employee at Build-A-Bear Workshop in Tukwila, Washington refused to request to write Charlie Kirk's name on the bear's birth certificate for a customer. In other news, it's pretty windy where I'm at, and I'm pretty sure, I had breakfast earlier. That was quite nice. Yeah, sorry, who actually gives a fuck? Even if the story is even true, I think there's a lot more things you could clutch your pearls over besides this. This is, certainly the journalism of all time, right? I hope you enjoy the $50 you get from X revenue sharing from that tweet. Wow, What's funny is that the fake outrage crowd is already tired of Charlie Kirk, and they've moved on to being angry at Netflix because of a screenshot from a TV show they don't even watch. Well, yeah, of course Republicans need new things to clutch their pearls at every 2 seconds. Because after all, their ex-revenue sharing isn't gonna wait for them. I missed this. What do? I think it's a lesbian couple from Camp Cretaceous. Oh no, in creative media where the creators have the freedom to literally make anything they want, they decide to put a gay there? Oh no, this is gonna not change my life at all. I'm so offended as a Republican that calls other people snowflakes for being offended at things. And they say that they're pro-LGBT? Yeah, sure thing. And they say that they're pro-LGBTQ? Yeah, definitely. All until the second that they got in. That and Dead End Paranormal Park for having a trans character in it. It's also pretty important to note that both of the shows they're enraged at both ended a while ago. Wait, you actually think MAGA cares about that? No, they just want to be enraged at things. And they want to shit on Netflix for a gay or a trans person in some of their fucking shows. Like, that's a big deal. On the left, former Joint Chiefs Chairman C.Q. Brown, a 4-star general and 41-year Air Force veteran, fired by Hegseth. And on the right, DEI hire, I think you mean DUI hire, Defense Secretary Pete Kegsbreath, drunk, embarrassing, and insufferable. But you don't understand, you know, a 41-year-old Air Force veteran that's a 4-star general doesn't have anywhere near as much experience as a Fox News host. Every government shutdown in my lifetime, without exception, has been because Democrats want people to have access to things, and of course Republicans don't. Well, not having things makes America great again, you know, getting in millions of dollars of medical debt, barely being able to pay for your bills, you know, that makes America so great. Oh, and you can't forget the tariffs that just make things more expensive, making America great again after all. That's it. Every time, Republicans would rather everyone die than get anything. Whoa. Well, they still want, like, massive corporations to get things, and, you know, the military-industrial complex to get things. Everyday people, no handouts for you. I do not understand how anyone ever votes for them without being stupid or evil. Well, gullible, that's another one. And, thinking that they're in any way upstanding? Yeah, stupid, yeah, good point. Democrats, slightly better quality of life and cheaper healthcare. Republicans, counterproposal, disease and poverty, because go fuck yourself. And centrists, why are both so extreme? I can't tell the difference. So both sides are equally terrible, but I'm still gonna vote for Republicans because of something identity politics. Both sides are the same, shouted the enlightened centrist. And that's why I always vote Republican. GOP official calls for Democratic Congresswoman to be executed. So what happens to the Democrat Party being the party of death and murder? Oh, the clutching pearls period has ended and now they're just back to doing exactly what they were accusing other people of? Got it. Well, actually, correction, back to, no, they were just doing it the whole time, sorry. Since they're being intentionally vague, John Gillette of Arizona called for Pramila Jayapal of Washington to be hanged. Cause that really owns the libs, guys. Could we just get on with the national divorce already? I don't see ever reconciling with the deplorables. Seems like we're more likely to get domestic homicided. Oof. I know you're right, but that reads hard. Stay safe. The present administration doesn't love this country. They don't, and they only care about, like, money and corporations and more control? Whoa. In other news, water's wet, I'm gay, and air's made of air. Kristi Noem tells Bad Bunny that ICE will be at the Super Bowl and the event should be for Americans who love this country. I'm sorry, but I don't think you have a say over that. You know, have you heard of tourists? Tourists could come. Americans that don't love this country, Americans that are critical. It doesn't matter. They've got the right to be critical. And you shouldn't have the right to arrest them without cause and then detain them without reason. And before you say, looking a certain way or having your own beliefs or identity isn't a valid reason. But hey, policing people's opinions is in the fascist playbook, so of course they'd have to start doing it at some point. Oh, we love our country, which is why we don't care for Noam. I'd happily listen to Bad Bunny 1,000,000 times before I'd listen to a blithering MAGA psychopath like Kristi Noem. Okay, but Bad Bunny was born in America. This is why Noam likely doesn't realise. One thing that comes through awfully clearly in these ICE videos is how many of these goons gravitated towards the job because being able to assault people with impunity is a big thrill for them. Basically the same thrill people seek when they apply to become cops, but in this role there's even less accountability and your whole goal is to harass and assault minorities. And detain them without cause, Because, yeah, protecting and serving really involves just kidnapping people off of the streets. Without due cause, of course. For cops, at least they have to come up with some plausible excuse as to why they do it. These are the dead shits that weren't even smart enough to qualify as cops, or had other disqualifications like criminal records. Yeah, I really wonder how they're gonna explain that to their grandkids. Oh yeah, I was a fascist. Yeah, they're really gonna like you for that, aren't they? She seems really shaken up still. Hey Chicago, what do you say? If my girl is ever moving like this 2.5 weeks after my assassination, I'm crashing out in the afterlife. MAGA is milking it for all they can get, but 90% of America never even heard of Charlie and forgot about him within 2 days. 100%. My mum is a hardcore Baptist Christian and never even heard of the guy. And she was suddenly randomly praising him and talking about how good of a man he was. Then, after about a week, it just disappeared from her mind and she hasn't brought it up since. They realised they couldn't turn him into a martyr because it was making politically neutral people look into all the disgusting things he had actually said and that the MAGA cult stands for. Anyone else notice that black women with Harvard degrees and 20 years of experience are called DEI hires, but some random guy on Fox News is expertly qualified to run the Department of Defense? Pete Keg's breath. It's almost like Republicans are fucking racist. Absolutely love how he kept referring to his experience as a platoon leader in a room full of division/department/corps commanders and senior NCOs. They must have been thinking, who the fuck does this diaper-faced dipshit think he is? A DUI hire, after all. Yeah, I saw a couple of photos and watched a bit of that god-awful fucking conference, and literally none of them were having it. I guarantee you, all they were thinking is when they could get the fuck out of there. And also, probably their own safety, because nothing screams security concern like basically every senior officer of the US military in one location at once. Yeah, that's really smart, guys. All for basically a publicity stunt, which could have been sent out via email. Whatever to earn the libs, I guess. First of all, congrats to them. Secondly, you notice how Trump never posts stuff like this? Best decision I ever made was marrying you, Michelle Obama. For 33 years, I've admired your strength, grace, and determination. And the fact that you look so good doing it all. Happy anniversary. Yeah, congrats to them. And you know, see how they're in a loving relationship of trust and care of each other? Reminds me of a president who doesn't have that at all. And actually their wife very visibly doesn't fucking like them. I was born under Reagan. Despite his flaws, Obama has easily been the best president of my entire life. My dad was born in the 40s. He saw a lot of presidents. When Obama was first elected, he was hesitant because my dad was a vet and wanted someone with military experience. Partway into his first term, my dad said he would go down in history as one of the best presidents ever had. And I think he was right. Well, with all of that about Trump advertising himself as some saint, yeah, he's nothing compared to Obama. Republicans are terrified of the Epstein files being released. Republicans are terrified of the Epstein files being released. Yeah, and they're really badly covering it up. I think literally anyone with basic critical thinking skills, you know, not MAGA, that they're so horribly trying to cover it up. The government is in full shutdown and the Republicans are refusing to call the House back into session. Just a reminder, it's not the Democrats' fault, despite what the propaganda's saying. And you know, despite Republicans breaking the law by making civil services incredibly partisan. That's illegal, by the way. You know all those government websites blaming the Democrats? Yeah, that's not really allowed. It's the Republicans that are responsible for this. They control the House, the Senate, and the White House, and they're trying to blame it on the Democrats. Because somehow they think the majority of the US is incredibly gullible. A lot are, but not all of them. You wanna know why? Because we've secured the final vote on releasing the Epstein files and they don't want it out. Call GOP and tell them to swear in. Literally anything but release the Epstein files, eh? It really makes me wonder, what could possibly be in the files that they're so afraid of? I mean, everyone knows about the pedophilia and sex trafficking, or wouldn't believe it anyway. Is there something that could be even worse that they don't want released? Maybe. The main thing is they just don't want it public, because they can somewhat spin it when it's not. I mean, what kind of deals could go down on a paedophile island? What kind of secluded black market deals indeed? The thing is, I'm not sure that it really matters. Trump supporters have been behind him every step of the way. Scandal after horrible scandal. Remember that time he tried to overthrow the government through insurrection? Well, what about Ted Cruz a couple of fucking days ago saying that we should stop attacking pedophiles? Whatever he meant by that. Literally no one cared. They've excused such an incredible mountain of shit up to this point. Surely whatever's in the Epstein files can't possibly sway their opinion now, right?